Welcome to Syntax. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Front End Happy Hour podcast.
Welcome to this week's JS Party.
Live from Shipshape Studios, this is Whiskey, Web, and Whatnot, with your hosts, Robbie the Wagner and me, Charles William Carpenter III.
That's right, Charles. We drink whiskey and talk about web development. I mean, it's all in the name. It's not that deep.
This is Whiskey, Web, and Whatnot. Do not adjust your set.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to your favorite podcast, Grumpy Men Shaking Fist at AI, with your hosts, Robbie the Wagner, and guest host today, Adam Argyle. How's it going, Adam?
Thomas Argyle the first this year.
Oh, the first. Nice.
No one ever claims the first, unless you're a library in the React ecosystem. You're like, I did it first.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. It sounds fancy to still be the first, even though it's not as prestigious, I guess.
Yeah, what's up with that? Where's Seinfeld? He needs a joke about this. Seems right.
Yeah, so we're going to have a bit of a different format today. Our questions are kind of just whatever we want to talk about, and we're going to drink whatever we want. So there will be no rating. It is one I've had before. I am doing the chicken cock, which is always a favorite.
Just fun to say.
Yes.
This one has a badass label with demons on it and a really cool demon horned, stopper on the top.
Yeah.
That's rye whiskey.
Mine is also rye, if I didn't say that. I don't know if I did. I just poured a very large amount in it.
You got twins. See, it's doubles now.
How do I? Let's see. I'm not used to my camera being over here. Yeah, this episode is sponsored by Norland Glass, norlandglass.com.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah. Have we sent you some? If not, we should.
You haven't, but I listen to the episodes all the time and was like, hey, they talked about me again. And I laughed really hard when you were like, I put it in the top rack, dude, and just washed it, with the rest of the stuff. And I'm like, that's totally what I would have done. I would have done the same thing. Like, it's a dishwasher. This is a dish. You put the dish in the washer.
I'm not going to put it in the bottom rack, but
it should survive there anyway if everything's going right for Norland.
Yeah. Well, they're very thin, so I can see why Chuck is worried. But they've held up so far.
Cool. Yeah, they seem nice. It's nice having cool glasses around. I've got this isn't a true bucket, but it works like one. It's fine.
So yeah, I'm not going to rate this. Just going to get right into topics. So we're very, first I want to highlight the title that we have here. From FAANG to Fired, the illusion of stability in big tech.
the fast track to waking and baking every day, which we'll get to. I've been waking and baking with my kids, and I just want to tell you all about it. So,
okay, well, we'll get to that. But yeah, how you feeling? How have things been going since the big news?
So the big news, y'all covered it lightly. My role was eliminated. I wasn't fired. It wasn't like I was doing a bad job, and they were like, "You suck, get out of here," or anything like that. It was more like, "Hey." This is my recap after many weeks trying to figure out what exactly it was. It was like, hey, you're kind of expensive and you're in an area where there's not very many other Chrome people and we're trying to eliminate people and you're just kind of in the wrong spot at the wrong time right now. So we're sorry, your role is gone. You're welcome though. And then so they say this to you and then they basically put you in handcuffs. So the golden handcuffs become real handcuffs. That was a really big illumination for me. I was like, did not expect... Because it used to be cool, I work at a FAANG company, it must be really stable. Turns out the security guy at the building I work at has a more secure job than I do. The people in the cafeteria, bro, have a more secure job than the Googlers do. It's ridiculous. Anyway, so the golden handcuffs, I was like, I got golden handcuffs. And now all of a sudden they were like real handcuffs. And I was like, shit, I have handcuffs on. I was like, oh, dude, how did you not know that they were there the whole time? I was reading the email, even the email that you get. I was 2 sentences in. And my computer shuts down because they got a back door.
Ooh.
They got a back door. They knew I read the email. They shut it down. And then when it booted, dude, I couldn't get into anything. I could get to email and the careers page. I couldn't walk into a building anymore. I couldn't chat with any of my coworkers. Nothing. And so it's just, to me, it was just ironic. They're like, hey, we're sorry. Just like the classic South Park, we're sorry. You're in handcuffs and you're not allowed in the building anymore. You're here in the garden. Enjoy the garden. It's beautiful. Butterflies and leaves. You're welcome to find another job in the building that you can't get into. And I'm like, what? You're going to look me in my eye and be like, we just eliminated your role. But hey, there's other roles in there that you can't see or get to, but you can try to get one, I guess. And it was just like, don't you see how weird this is?
Yeah, it's very similar to Amazon because there would be, several rounds of layoffs there, and like folks would be looking to join another team so they wouldn't have no job, but they cut off their access to everything. So there's like, they can't Slack somebody and be like, hey, like, is your team hiring? I need to move over or whatever. Like, there's no way to verify anything about these people. They're just like gone. And yeah, it's really shitty. It's like, I guess the problem is if you don't do all that, there's going to be the guy who like logs into something, deletes everything, or like
SSH, sudo RMRF, star.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say that I didn't think about like destroying some Amazon property now and then, but like, I don't do it because I have self-control. It's so aggravating, the whole state of everything right now with all the layoffs and the like AI bullshit trying to get people to be replaced by machines, and I'm just not a fan.
Okay, so besides like losing the role, I definitely cried. I liked my role anyway, and I was there for a long time. I didn't imagine for 1 minute that it was like that shaky. So then more than just like losing a job, I was home all day, which also wasn't normal. I went to the office. So now I'm home. I'm full-time dad with no job. It was like a lot of things changed. It wasn't just like half of my life changed. It was like everything changed. And at first I was like, well, I'm not very good at taking vacation. This should be great. And then after like a week, I was like, I can do this. This is all right. And then like a month into it, I was like, I don't want to work. I don't want to work anymore. I was like, tech is stupid. Everything looks stupid. I was like, I hate where this is all going. Dude, I'm still mad, dude. I'm not going to lie. I'm still mad. I'm like, the taste for everything is like gross. I'm like, so I'm looking at all the jobs. I'm like, where is even cool to work, man? Who's doing it right? I'm like, no one. Maybe
no one. Yeah.
Maybe Netflix. I don't know. They seem to have general happiness over there. Shopify wanted me to like come in and do AI next gen shopping e-commerce stuff, and I'm like, no, I really, really, really don't want to touch that with like a 10-foot pole. And so since I'm not willing to go work at like any AI companies, I'm looking around going, well, okay, so what's left? Anyway, enough to say too is I have friends that are really, really talented people. It took them 10 months to get a job. So needless to say, I definitely panicked at first. I applied to a bunch of places, ran into a Microsoft dev. Check this out. So my article made me the conduit for everybody's layoff stories. I got some wild ones in my email. One of them that was the most wicked one was a cat was laid off when he was working abroad and lost his visa, couldn't get home. So he was stuck.
Oh, shit.
And like was like in a really bad scenario. Another person was he's like, hey, so I did something awesome at Microsoft 15 years ago, and they put my name on a statue with 6 other people. There's a monument at the Microsoft campus with my name on it. The next day I got laid off. I was like, the disconnect between the head and the heart of these FAANG places is out of control. So needless to say, I quit the panic and I just sort of chilled, and I'm just trying to plant seeds, let stuff grow, not rush it in. The kids today's the last day of summer, so you'll be doing this soon too. The kids are home all summer, no more school, and I'm going to be dad school or whatever. I'm like ready to do like dad scout camp, dad this camp. I'm gonna run. Those camps are also like $1,000 per week for a kid. That's ludicrous. So I'm like, I'm going to save us a bunch of money. I'm going to run all these. So anyway, I think I answered like 5 questions you didn't ask plus the one you asked, but
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of things that would be interesting to you, like working on CSS, obviously. So like, what about the new, I forget what it's called. There's some like new browser that's like being made from the ground up. Like,
yeah, Ladybird.
What about those guys?
Yeah, there's Ladybird.
Maybe? I forget.
Yeah, like one of the things too is like my love for CSS and the web existed before the role. It's going to exist after the role. I don't really feel like I want to DevRel somewhere else. I didn't really want to DevRel. I just wanted CSS to have more people talking about it. I was like, JS is so saturated with Chrome DevRel. Where's the CSS one? And they were like, you do it. And I was like, I can't do that. I've never done it before. And then I did it. And I can't really switch and go do that somewhere else. Like Mozilla had an opening for DevRel on Firefox, and they were like, Adam, you should apply. And I was like, I don't know if I could just do that. Maybe I could. So I can still be on the CSS working group. I'm still interested in like front-endy type roles. And so some of the tools have been like tools that help people write CSS. So it's like, hey, I know all the modern stuff. I'm really good at making GUIs that interface and teach these people things on the fly. So it could be a design tool. There's numerous of those out there right now. Even things like I was looking at a job at Brilliant, which apparently gives ads all the time. People are like, Brilliant's been putting ads all over my YouTube. And I was like, I haven't seen one. But anyway, to me, it looks like Duolingo for STEM. So you've got the same interface of Duolingo, all the exciting shit going on in animations, but you're teaching kids science, technology, engineering, and math. And I was like, that's just really cool. And they need a front-end interactive developer. That's all I would do all day. Build the interactives that help educate and teach people to work through the problem. I'm like, that's cool. I don't know if I'll do it, but there's stuff out there.
Yeah. I think you and Jay should just make a consultancy where you just make cool, insane CSS shit for people who need it. And,
we talked about it. We did. He was in town and I grabbed a one wheel and I was like, dude, meet me at the park. And we one wheeled around the park and I told him some of my wild ideas. And one of them was, yeah, dude, let's duo up. People think we're some of the top design engineers out there right now. So let's leverage that. Let's, I don't know, go make a course, go make a site, do something where it's just like you and I owning our content and selling that shit. And then I remembered, I like making stuff, but I hate putting it in a box and then surrounding it with fluffy fluffykins and then putting a little handwritten card inside and then putting it in another box and putting a bow on the box. And then, oh my God, by then I'm just like, I like making the thing. I don't like marketing it. I don't like selling it. I don't want clients and customers. I don't want all the rest of the noise. And so it's just like, oh, I don't know. I still think of making a luxury components. So this was like one of my favorite ideas, right? They don't exist. What would they be? Expensive. That's what they would be. Lots of space, very white.
It's like the I Am Rich app from when iOS came out. Like it's just $100 and it just says, you are rich.
You are rich. Oh, I love it. But they would be like wildly nice components, very specific too. So not your generic, like, this is a combo box for you to do whatever the hell you want with it. I'd be like, this is a badass combo box. You download it and you use it as is. It's sick. You don't want to change it. It's too dope to change, But I'm like, I don't know if I really want to do that either. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I'm still confused, dude.
Well, I know there's a company, I forget who they are. They made a company just to consult with Apple and make cool shit. So something like that. Like you pick a company that you want to make stuff for that you like, they have cool websites or whatever. And you'd be like, hey, I'm doing that shit. Do you want to buy some of it? And they're like, yeah.
Hell yeah. I just pitched a team. They're called Normal from Europe. And they exclusively build non-normal things. So they build future UIs. I've been obsessed with FUI for a long time. Fake UI. You're watching Westworld and they pull open their tablet and there's code on there. I always pause and I'm like, psh, what the hell did they try to fake out the rest of the world with, And I'm looking at the FUI. The most badass FUI was in Dead Space, the video game. Oh my goodness. That FUI team was so cool. And so this team, Normal, they just consult and show up to build super badass future sci-fi UI of all kinds. And I was like, hey, I'm here for you. I can push the boundaries of the browser in this harmony between it's still usable, but it's also wildly different looking. Let me help you or whatever. I haven't heard back from them, but I'm still planting those seeds. I agree. Finding those cool teams and just pitching them. That's a fun way to roll right now as I'm in I don't have a lot of risk at the moment. I've been saving for years. I've been really good at, I've never made a lot of money. Here's my pro tip, everybody. I've been in the industry for a long time. I've never made a lot of money, but I've saved a lot of money, which makes me feel rich now. And I think that's unique. Anyway.
It is. Yes, I have accumulated a lot of debt rather than saving a lot of money. So, yeah, I could see where saving money would be useful. But yeah, something I've always wanted to do, but it's I feel like I don't have the vision of how could I make a thing totally different than it should be on the web. Things like going to the awards, the AWW awards
more
site and looking at all this stuff. Yeah, and I would love to get one of those trophies. I assume there's a physical trophy. I don't know.
You could just make one for yourself,
That's
with
true.
the website and
no one would know.
Thing.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that could be something you could do. Just make a thing, collect trophies, get accolades.
That would be cool. Was in CSS Day a couple weeks ago, and Sid Stumple, I don't know how to say her last name. She's awesome. She has a few of those, and she spoke on stage, and her most recent website redesign was all scroll-driven animations and view transitions, and you can tell that they're very good at just interactive storytelling. And so they take those technologies, they make an awards-winning site out of it. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so I guess while we're on that topic of cool CSS things, we'll bounce around a little here. I'm going to be doing a talk at Big Sky DevCon I might get the title wrong. Let's see. I think it's HTML is stealing our jobs. So
Nice.
I think HTML has done a good job of making a lot of things that have made JavaScript obsolete, but so has CSS. So I wanted to pick your brain. Like I know carousel is like a big one more recently that you've talked about, but like what are some of the heavy hitters that I should include?
Yeah, so CSS really taking JavaScript's job. Scroll-driven animations, for sure. View transitions is kind of one where a lot of people would pick a single page application, not because they had a audio track that needed to play across page navigation, but just because they liked the view animations, like the between panels swapping in and out or whatever. That's all can be done in the browser now as progressive enhancement. Scroll-driven animations. And I think those two things in particular also are really good for, you don't need to shove that down everybody's throat. It's like if they're visiting from a browser that can do it, voila, they get it. If not, then they get. The only bummer is the CEO at all the companies I've always worked at had like the oldest phone. You're like, why do you have the old phone? You're the one like scrounging millions of dollars out of other people's pockets, and the phone in your pocket is 5 years old. What the hell, man? So if you have to have your, it has to work on everybody's phone, especially your CEOs. That can be kind of a hard sell to upgrade, but those two are good. The custom select stuff is another good one. That's pretty much all CSS, and that can be wildly powerful and responsive. So no JavaScript for any of that. There's things that people don't know about in HTML, like the data list element, and like a search input. You can say list equals and point to a data list element, and it'll pretty much fuzzy autocomplete, and that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, all good examples. Mine were less sexy, maybe. I was like, you can do a color picker with input type color.
Yeah,
but
well,
like
that one
you
takes
used to
data
have to
list
write-
also.
Yeah, but you used to have to like do tons of JavaScript to make a color picker. So like, the only way I found that one out was I needed to fix some bugs in our color picker at like Amazon for the app, and I was like, this thing blows. Like, how do I get a better one? And then it was like, oh, you could just do input type color, and I was like, okay, I will do that.
Yeah, that one is just saw some updates too in Safari. You can now pick transparency and a P3 color. And that took years of spec work in HTML land to get the input type color to support more than RGB hex values. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, Tailwind is all OKLCH now, right? On Tailwind 4.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that'll push everyone forward because everyone uses Tailwind, let's be honest.
Yeah, and it's way nicer to say blue 5 than to think about OKLCH. Oh crap, what is it, the O and the K and the L that I worry about, or is it the L, the C, and the H? Yeah, it's pretty wild out there, the colors.
Yeah, I think that's OKLCH's biggest problem is like, what the fuck are the values? And like, what does any of this mean? Because I always just think about it as like, what's the closest hex value? And then go to like the converter online and like get the actual value. Because I'm like, I have no idea.
Yep, that's really common, especially in Tailwind, because you'll get a hex value from Figma, and so then you go find, you're just like, hey, tell me the Tailwind color, because my designer's probably not going to notice, right? I didn't use the color they said. And OKLCH is the most annoying thing to
monitor is.
Oh, that too. What bugs me about OKLCH is the hue wheel. So it's still 0 to 360 like everybody else, but it starts at a different red. It starts at a hot pink instead of red. So like HSL, if you say hue, you can't translate directly a hue from HSL or HWB into the H of the LCH family tree. They are shifted 10 or 15 degrees or something like that, and that makes me want to shake my fist at a color gamut. I know, right? Dang it.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a real world example of this. You know, you travel abroad, every single country's plugs are different. Why? Why didn't we just say, like, these plugs should be the same so I can plug my shit in when I travel around?
Yeah, I mean, the same thing happens. You're assembling furniture or whatever, and you're like, oh, crap, there's different Phillips heads. You're like, why isn't there one Phillip head? You're like, oh, some are fatter, some are deeper, some are shallow, some... I'm like, I don't care. I would like to screw in this screw and stop screwing up the screws because I'm stripping them, trying to find out which Phillips head goes in the right slot. Yeah, it's really annoying.
Yes, but at least it's Phillips head. Like, whenever I get a flathead screw, I'm just like, come on, guys. And then, yeah, I got okay, this is really off topic, but so we have like these mirrors we put up in the bathroom, right? And one of them we got has like 2 little hooks in the back, and you have to like perfectly get 2 screws in the wall exactly where those hooks should go. And then the other one is much better. It's like it has a giant bar, and you mount a giant bar on the wall, and you make sure that's level, and then you just hook the giant bars together.
Brilliant.
Like when something is that much better, the rest should be outlawed. I should never be able to buy a mirror that does that shit. Like, it's insane.
It's insane. But then, like, so I've had these same thoughts, and it's often about screws or plugs, just like you're talking about. But then every once in a while, when I'm building something kind of custom, I'm like all of a sudden really hyper aware at why the differences are there. And then I'm like, oh shit, we do need a slightly different screw here because the wood is just slightly thinner. And if it was the same screw, it would split it or whatever, like different screws. And like all these things have like, and then I start to go back to where I kind of am on the web now, where it's like, I appreciate the craft. I know the difference between the 10 different screws. I mean, units of CSS. Actually, there's 54 units right now. I know all 54 units. I don't know what they're
Name
good
them
for.
all
It's
right
like,
now. No, I'm just kidding. I'll do that.
Hey, over half of them were just the LVH, SVH, DVH, the shenanigans going on there with like the long, what is it? The large, small, dynamic, and logical and physical sizing. It's like 25 units. It's ridiculous. And then you got the container query units that all do the same thing. But anyway, it's like, I think I like it sometimes. I'm like, I'm kind of glad we didn't standardize on like one screw. If there was only one screw, I think a lot of shit would look stupider because we'd have to work around the size of the screw, and that sucks. And so that's like all of our software, we write functions and we have variables. It's not like we're using variables created from some mega pack that's got all the variables. We tried that with functions for a while with like Lodash and underscore. And some of that was really cool to have the utilities there. Well, and Tailwind's kind of a utility thing, but it's got enough in there to not create the same thing over and over again. And that's the dance of an abstraction, right? It's like, how do you abstract it enough to enable expressive, meaningful use cases, but also take away the noise and kind of reduce complexity? It's really tough.
Lodash stuff, I feel like 90% of it is like not relevant anymore. But like, I feel like the last holdout that has, I want to say recently has become not relevant, but I feel like it's probably been years. I just don't keep up with everything, like deep cloning stuff, but you can just use structured clone now. I would always reach for it for that. Like, I need to make sure everything's copied. Just use the Lodash thing. But yeah, I feel like it's just like all of these things. Like I wonder if Tailwind will just become a thing in a browser. Like, you can just use this stuff. Yeah. Like, you don't need to, like, this is the new CSS.
Could be. I just thought of another HTML or CSS is coming for JavaScript is sibling index and sibling count. So often in a template language, we'll decorate an element with its index just to stagger an animation or something like that. And having that in CSS means the template or JavaScript or whoever is responsible right now for doing that will need to do it anymore. CSS can do it dynamically. That'll be kind of cool.
I feel really dumb right now, but I think it has that, like, is that one of the new things, like the has selector or whatever?
Yep, that also eliminates a lot of template logic.
Because like something about like when our player was open on our site, like has open player, basically like do some other shit. I forget. Yeah, I do these cool things and then I use it one time and then like the majority of my work is like not fun and cool like that. So I'm just like, forget all of that. But
yeah, what is the majority of your work these days? Is it the are you babysitting agents? Are you babysitting your managers? I mean, what do you got? You're in a new job, right? You're a couple of weeks in since the parental leave?
Months. Okay, well, yeah, since the leave, yeah, a couple. Oh fuck, let's see what. Yeah, I came back June 9th, so it's now a couple weeks. But yeah, so I'm at HashiCorp now. Still doing Ember. I'm gonna try to do Ember until I die, if possible.
I think you should, dude.
Yeah, I mean, as long as someone's using it, just please hire me. Thank you. But yeah, so I'm doing that. I'm on a team called Front End Foundations. So we do like all the Ember updates and like architecture type stuff for like everyone else to enable them to build things. And then the feature teams build the features. So we're not doing the feature work most of the time.
Oh, nice. You're the back of the front, dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we have like a mono repo with like 50 packages that we have to be like, all right, I've got to propagate this like dependency update across like hundreds of places. Like, dope. Love that.
Whoa. So are you like reading Module Federation readmes right now? You're like, all of a sudden you're interested in the Module Federation. I heard that person talk about that one time and I was like, I do not have that problem. Wow.
No, but I have been advocating for like a lot of the changes. So like, Ember has Ember CLI and like a lot of it is blueprint driven for updates. So it's like, you know, you do this thing. So if you have 50 things using Ember CLI in a mono repo, you probably want to update them all separately to get the blueprint updates. But I'm like, but do you? Because like you could put one prettier config in the root and it doesn't have to change because like I can change it there and everything just inherits from it. So I think we're going to like move more towards that. But as of right now, everything is like every time you update, you got to update it in every single package. And what's even more fun is we have code owners set up where every single package has to approve that we change it. And then if anything changes and you have to rebase, you have to get the approvals again.
Whoa.
So it's like, it was taking months to get stuff merged. And so like, once I was there, I was like, this is dumb. I need like pseudo permissions for approvals from everyone on our team. And if we approve, it can just be merged. So
Nice. Yeah.
yeah, that's what we're doing now, because it's like, that was a slog and nobody should have to do that.
No, that sounds ridiculous. Plus, that person doesn't want to be in that hot seat either. That happened at Google with releases. You try to release some software, and there'd be some cat who doesn't know who you are, doesn't know crap about the project, but they hold the button. They have to hit the final button. And so, like, if they didn't hit it before you launched it, you're like, you've had 2 weeks to look at this button and just push the button. Like, what are you waiting for? And so you'd have to, like, escalate and escalate and escalate until, like, oh, my goodness. I didn't want to be them. I also didn't want to be me. This was, like, a crappy scenario to be in. Like, no one's happy.
Yeah, I mean, I just ping them directly. I wait, like, one day, and I'm like, hey, have you looked at this yet?
Oh,
I
dude,
don't have
that's...
patience.
Should start using AI to just be annoying at work, just like that. Be like, oh, every day. Yeah, that wasn't me. No, you wrote me today and asked me to hit the button. No, I didn't. You did?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was my agent. Yeah, I have one of my AI. Yeah, it's set to do that every day. Yeah, it's going to do that every day at this time until you hit the button. Well, hey, can you turn that off? No, I can't because I need you to hit that button.
It's self-aware. Oh, yeah. All right, so yeah, let's talk about AI. So I know that you're not the biggest fan. So what do you think it's good at currently?
There's plenty of things it's good at, which is really frustrating because I'm like torn on the whole thing. And I also just to preface this, I'm trying this stuff with like a good intentions, and I try all the models, I try all the tools. I'm currently preferring Windsurf over Cursor and Google's Firebase Studio, and like I or Zed. I like Zed. So I'm weird.
David.
I use Zed for my personal website. I use Windsurf for like, don't tell David. He was like, come work on the tool. And I was like, no. He's like, why not? I'm like, dude, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching that stuff. I'm not into feeding the beast that is just the copycat machine that doesn't ask anybody and just vomits out mediocrity. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not here for that. And he's like, it does. Anyways, we got in an argument. He's still a friend. But like, okay, so I'm using this stuff, and I used it a lot at Google, dude. I was training, I did interviews with people and would take all of the conversations and transcripts and trained a model to answer questions for higher ups about like, who was I interviewing and what were they struggling with? I used research models, tons. So people like are right now, they're like, oh yeah, if you don't like AI, you haven't tried the research things. And I'm like, I've tried the research things a lot of times, and the amount of times they lied about the dates that something was supposed to have come out was out of control. I had to stop using it. They just would lie. And it was a really big document that I didn't know which sentence was a lie and which one was truth. So you have fun sifting through that, or, dealing with the ramifications of submitting it like it's real. Okay, so some successes. So let's start there. I really liked using the live screen one. So that Google had a model that you'd stream your screen to it, and it could then teach you about anything, basically. You could open up any application. You didn't need to be in Cursor. You didn't need to be in your terminal. Like right now, AI is trapped in a lot of places, trapped in a sidebar. This thing read your screen. You could open up a brand new app or like a design tool or whatever and be like, hey, I need to make a gradient that looks like this. And it'd be like, over on the right. So the thing. That was pretty cool. It also lied and failed. But I would watch Japanese YouTube videos of people building front ends, and they're like talking it out, and I would get a live translator on a video that didn't have captions. That's cool. I said earlier, all the research and stuff that I did, and I was packing that into Notebook LM. That was cool because it cited its sources, and there were real people with real comments with real data. That's cool. With coding, the most success I have with these things, okay, because they're non-deterministic. So this is where I start to kind of go off the rails. I like that it can create scripts easy, scripts that do recreatable things. For example, today I had it build a script that automates me creating a new post or a new note on my personal website. Up until now, I've been copying and pasting from a template. So today I had an agent create a script that automates this. So now I can just, from the command line, be like, I'm going to make a new post. And it's like, what is it? A note or a blog post? I'm like this. And it's like, what's the title? I'm like this. And then it just does the cloning for me and adds the dates and all the stuff, like automates some tasks for me. Scripts are a really good thing because you can come back to them a month later and your model didn't update and your model doesn't have new whiz-bang features that means it doesn't know what the fuck it was doing back then. You can like resume where you were. It's a script. It's like a definitive thing that you got out of it. So I like to use AI to create functions, specifically like functions that are finite, pure functions, or scripts. It goes really poorly for me when I start having it do sweeping things. And this is where everyone's like, you tried the wrong agent. I'm like, dude, I'm trying all the agents and you just shut up. They all will be like confident hot garbage. And here's people love, dude, I like you're shifting your seat. Like I'm about to get into this. Okay. So everyone loves the meme where it's like CSS walks into a bar and a stool falls over in another bar. Have you heard that joke?
No, but that's amazing.
It's awesome. It's such a good joke. And so I'm like, y'all, that's AI. I prompted to ask for it to get me a drink and it made a drink, but it also knocked over a bar stool in another bar. You're like, these things, they don't know what they're doing. And I don't know why everyone's so willing to babysit things. That's like one of the things I'm not a man. I didn't like I've been a manager many times and I'm a parent now. I don't want to babysit things. I want to trust people and I want good, hardworking people to do good work. That's the premise of like being a professional. And here we are. Many people are like happy to have 5 morons doing long-term tasks for them that they're just like in the back of their seat, just like chilling, sipping on whiskey or whatever, like telling these 5 agents over and over again, try again, read the error, try again. I'm like, I can't believe you're willing to sit there for hours. But I interviewed people that would do it for 8 hours a day. They were like, I don't write code, but I will sit here and prompt for 8 hours to get this done. I'm like, my God, I would never. So there's a small rant. Dude, you take it over. Take the wheel, man.
Okay. So I have a lot of opinions because for the past like 2 weeks, I've been trying to rewrite this Ember add-on, Ember Data Model Fragments, which lets you like inside an Ember model or Ember Data model, I guess, like you can have another thing that's like an object and it's called a fragment and it's like kind of a model light. So it did a bunch of bad things, a lot of transforms and stuff it shouldn't have done behind the scenes. And so it was just stuck at like it won't work past a certain Ember Data version. And so it's my task for like the next couple of quarters to make that work. And so I was like, all right, I'll try it myself. Like naively, I know nothing about this add-on. I know very little about Ember Data, but like I think I can figure it out. And so I did a bunch of stuff. I did have a few successes, like getting things updated, removing a few crufty old things. And then I just hit a wall and I was like, okay, fuck, let's see what AI can do for a while. And so I started with like ChatGPT, just like, hey, like this is what I got. What do you think? Like, what should I do? And it was like, here's some suggestions. And I did some of that. Didn't really work, but like, I don't expect a lot out of ChatGPT. Like, I think Claude is much better at code. I switched over to Claude and I was like, look, forget everything I've done. Let's start fresh from the main branch. All right, what do you think I should do? Let's even go into research mode. Like,
make a plan.
Be
like a senior SWE.
Yeah, this is what I have now. And like, here's the new thing and how it works. Research some shit. And it was actually impressive with the research. It was like, here's like 250 websites I looked at and like the reasons I think it should go this way. And the document it wrote sounded very compelling and correct. So I was like, sweet, let's do that. And then it like failed at implementing it over and over. And I was like, wow, you suck at implementing this. But I think the problem, because I paired with like the guy who's in charge of Ember Data today, is that it was fundamentally wrong in its plan. But I thought it was right because, like, I don't know. So it's like very confident that its plan is right. And it makes it sound very like, oh, I know all this and this and this and this and this. But it was just wrong about like 4 out of the 5 like things. So it just kept not being able to make the test pass because it was just not using the right stuff. And so then I was like, all right, I'm going to switch to Klein, install that in VS Code.
Used Klein. Yep.
Yeah. Like start bleeding my money away. Let's do this here. So it's like 2 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents, 2 cents until I'm up to like $26. And I'm like, bro, you're not going to get this right. Fuck you. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I was cursing at the fucking AI because I just could not get it to work. And yeah, I think all of that is to say, like, I think it's actually really, really bad at taking a thing that exists and like migrating it to a new thing that's like fundamentally different and understanding how things work. I think what it can do is like regurgitate some React code and some Tailwind classes that like build you a website. I think it can do that, but it's like really bad at anything that takes more thought. And then it's also really good at scripts and regex and stuff like you mentioned. Like Anytime I need a regex or like a script that's purely back end, nothing's going to be visual, just like do some shit. It's like, I got you. And I can trust that because I know it can validate itself and work. But yeah, anything in between is just like not there.
This just in, Whiskey.fund is now open for all your merch needs.
That's right, Robbie. We're hearing reports of hats, sweaters, and t-shirts, as well as a link to join our Discord server.
What's a Discord server?
Just read the prompter, man.
Hit subscribe, leave us a review on your favorite podcast app, and tell your friends about our broadcast.
It really does help us reach more people and keeps the show growing.
All right, back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Here's a site that, or a scenario that I thought was it was a good use case, but also this would be poopy if it cost you money. I needed to add like a web cache API. So it's like a new web cache API. It's in Dino. My site has been server-side rendered for the past couple of years. I wanted to add cache. I've been waiting. They released the API. API's already been. Anyway, I had set 3 different agents on the task in 3 different branches and monitored each of them, 3 different models, and was like, okay, I'm just doing a test. I want to see which one does it best, blah, blah, blah. I also want to learn from like what they're doing and then pick the one that worked the best or whatever. Long story short, all 3 of them barely finished the task after I like really had to be like, fix the error. Here's the error. And I had to like handhold the little baby thing through the whole task, whatever. But each of them produced very bloated solutions. And the thing for me is after I'd reviewed the 3 different bad versions, I wrote the 4th one in 1/5 the size. I knew every line of code and it was a flawless victory. And I was like, I wish people weren't vibe coding their way through successes. I think it's important to maybe rubber duck with these dorks and let the dork screw it up for you 3 times, go learn from their dorky dork moves, and then you go look like a pro or whatever. But no one's doing that. Everyone's YOLOing this shit to prod all day. It's crazy to me. Like, I pity the fool. And I've already met a couple that have had this has happened to them, but I pity the fool that like builds a tower of cards on here with prompts and prompts and prompts. They don't understand anything what they're doing. They just prompt and ask and they accept. I'm like, I don't know. I want the result. Is this going to be it? And the tool's like, yes, this will be the result. So you hit accept and getting themselves into scenarios where they're going to be completely stuck one day, completely painted into a corner. Whether or not that means the model stops responding because services are down, or it means that they've literally got themselves into something that's so feeble, so broken, so delicate, it's now entirely too far gone. There's no refactoring this. There's no new AI model that can come make sense of this trash. It is just trash. You have trash software. Yeah. I think we're headed towards a future of more software than we've ever had before, more mediocre experiences than we've ever had before, and more trash than we've ever had before. And I don't like that future. Yeah. That's part of the future I don't want to contribute to. I'm like, there's good sides to this, yes, but the people out there touting this stuff and selling it like it's great are the ones touting mediocrity and trash and throwing people's professions into the garbage and copycatting them without saying thank you or giving them any attribution. And they're destroying the universe. I'm like, this crap is a little too far for me to support it. While I like my little custom functions and sometimes my decent autocomplete, I don't like the other 90% of what's going on.
Yeah, it's really fucked up. I did like the tweet from, I forget the guy's name, but Sam Altman had tweeted something about like DeepSeek when it came out or whatever and being like, oh, you just ripped off all our shit, whatever. And the guy was like, oh, did the guys take your work and not give you attribution and no payment?
I loved it too. I loved it so much. Yeah. Also, when Sam was like, "Stop saying please and thank you," I was like, "You just told me what to do." I'm pretty much that like 8-year-old kid. I'm like my kid right now. I'm like, "You told me not to." Oh, does that cost you money, Sam? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go say please and thank you over and over again, just to like attack you. I guess it's like he like exposed an attack vector. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, I haven't posted the clip from the most recent episode of this show yet, but it is a clip about like I wish nothing but failure on Sam Altman and like expounding on that. I'll post it soon. I'm excited for it.
Awesome. And I posted the human centipad from South Park, which was from 2011. And just oh man, it's so good. And I just like it personified how models were trained. They just got trained on all of our dumb shit we put on the internet. I'm like, you really want to train some super thing on all of our internet contributions? I was like, that was a bad choice from the start. I tried Dia today, which is Arc Browser's new AI integrated browser.
Oh, yeah.
And so the whole play, like, how much did you follow Arc and their like pivot here?
I heard all of the drama, and I still use Arc, and it still works great for me. I guess I'm in the minority on that, but
I still use Arc and it works great for me too. So you and I are together there. But the pivot was because they had a lot of happy users, but not enough. They wanted a browser to take large market share, and they found that their specialty browser was too small of a market share. And so they pivoted to Dia. And so I opened up Dia today. Dia is pretty much Chrome tabs, back to tabs at the top. And just like Cursor, there's a sidebar with chat in it. And I was like, this is your play? This is what you think my fucking mom is going to use? I was like, are you joking me? It's like, this is even more narrow of a use case than where you came from. And I'm like, if you think the future of interfaces is sidebar, chat navs, I'm like, you are wrong. In fact, I'm going to go as far right now as to say that IDEs are not the future. We're probably moving towards a state where like the terminal is probably a better spot, or even these ones that read your entire screen all the time. Like embedded chat experiences is stupid. Yeah, sponsored by Warp. Hey, Warp, I think you're in a huge advantage space right now. I think Windsurf and Cursor, and these are all going to fight for fragments of what is eventually going to be your pie, because you're the terminal. And that's really, you need to execute commands. You're already there. They're simulating using you. You're already there, and you're already more prepared for this than they are. I think that's a really interesting, there's your hot take for today's. I think terminals will take the coders over time and not VS Code forks. I think VS Code forks, like the $500 billion, whatever dorks just spent on Cursor, was a moronic choice. Oh my goodness. They were already dying. I was like, Cursor's dying. Everyone's using Windsurf already. You just bought the dying one, you dorks.
No, they bought Windsurf.
They bought Windsurf? I
Yeah.
thought they bought Cursor. Oh shit. Well, Windsurf is the better one. Okay.
It is. And it's, I don't know why it's better. I can't really quantify the betterness. It's just like, it feels better. When I hit tab, it does more better things than Cursor does. Like, they both kind of work, but like, yeah, I don't understand why it's better. It just is.
This is always going to be, I'm a front end person, and so I'm going to argue this all the time, but you could get in two types of cars. They both have identical engines, identical distance that they can go, etc. But one you get in and it's like, plush. You grab the steering wheel and you're like, damn. You say that to yourself. You know, you look at the colors and you're like, just the HUD, you're just like, damn. And then you get in the other car and you're like, all right, you know, it feels like an Accord. You know, it's great. Yeah. And then you're like, well, which one do you want? You're like, I want the one I said, damn, when I open it. So you open, you open Windsurf, and you don't say damn to yourself, but you're like, damn, something's here. And it is. I think it's mostly color and spacing. It's like little stuff. Yeah, it smells better. Anyway. Dia sucks. Oh, hold on. The whole thing here is Dia sucks. Yeah. I used Dia and I was like, I like the browser company. I thought they were doing cool stuff. And I'm like, Dia is not the way.
I mean, we should have the folks on from there and just see what their opinion is. But like, yeah, I think they were doing great stuff. And there was another good tweet about like that whole thing, the snippet from the Silicon Valley show where it's like, did you know you could ask for less money? And he's like, wait, I could ask for less? I wouldn't have had to like do all this shit and like, you know, my company would fail. Like, yeah, like that's what they should have done. Your thing that's a Chrome reskin, which is arguably a much, much better Chrome reskin, because I love a lot of the stuff they've done, but it is not worth $500 million for sure. So yes, you could have probably just been like, hey, maybe this is worth $10 million, $100 million, whatever. And, you know, me as the CEO, I'll make 1 million, 2 million instead of like 10 million, 50 million, whatever. But no one does that. They're all just like, how can I make the most money? And maybe you could just be happy with big piles of money instead of insane piles of money.
Dude, seriously, I think the Arc browser is a perfect example. I agree. They shouldn't have shot for the moon and then shoved AI in there just to take more money. Here's a fun little side note. I was in Amsterdam a few weeks ago, ran into a lawyer who specializes in software, specifically like banking software and like high value money transaction software. All his clients were Bitcoin for 4 years straight, 5 years straight, until AI hit. And then all of a sudden, all his clients were AI clients. And 6 months ago, every single one of his AI clients stopped. And they all went back to Bitcoin. And the reason was AI is making no money. It is soaking up money faster than they've ever absorbed money before. And it's not returning. At least with Bitcoin, there was a way that money could circulate. There was like at least something resembling income was transferring around, even though some of them felt like Ponzi schemes. Also, I love how like crypto tokens, and then we have AI tokens. We're like counting tokens, like how many tokens did you spend on that request? And like the deep research ones are now like 200,000 tokens. You're like, all I asked was a question, and you're going to charge me for all those tokens? It's like, why are we in this world of dealing with tokens? And everyone's like, the crypto token bad, the AI token good. I'm like, all tokens suck. Let's just get out of here. Come on, they've been sucked at full tilt. I don't want my tokens. I want to have quarters. Anyway, just like rant over about tokens, but like apparently investors are finally noticing that AI is not lucrative, that you can try as hard as you can to shove it down throats, because that's basically what's been happening. No one's asking for this much AI everywhere, yet it's everywhere. They're trying to shove it into our face. I'm pretty sure they just love how much they're tracking us. Think of how much information we're giving them. They used to know what tabs we visited, but they didn't know what we did on them. And now they know what we want to do there, because like people in Dia are like, I want to compare these two products because I'm interested in a wedding party. La, la, la. It's like, and they're like, oh, tell us more about your data. We will sell it. Even if it's anonymous, I shall make money. I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? It's just crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you ignore the fact that they're trying to delete all jobs and screw everyone over, like it's really bad for like energy efficiency and the world. Like there's not enough water that exists on the planet to cool enough AI to like do everything. So maybe we shouldn't do so much.
Yep, it's wild. It's not making any money. It's eating up resources. And you have these higher ups. So the Shopify person last week or whatever was like, designers, you're now all just designers. If you were a UX designer before, you're now a designer. If you were a graphic designer before, you're now a designer. If you were, all of you are under one umbrella because you now have the power of AI. And AI allows you to be a poser in any profession that you desire. You can now be a fraud and feel the weight of imposter syndrome at a new level you've never felt before with just a prompt. So if you're not a UX designer, you are now. Just ask for it to act like one, and now you shall be it. And our whole company, you are all now a conglomerate of posers. And I was like reading this and I was like, oh my God, this is crazy to me. Specialty is really valuable. Like how could you just go generalize your entire crew? I'm like, that's super fucked up. And then you have like multiple CEOs doing this. The only people with boners for AI are the ones that think they're getting shit cheaper. Dude, in Silicon Valley, you had the conjoined triangles of success or whatever. It was like, and they're looking at it going, well, we can do it cheaper. Dude, I think AI is almost like a new offshore concept for a lot of CEOs where they were like, we used to take, because it was expensive to have US based engineers. Let's go offshore. It's cheaper. It's not as good. Well, sometimes it's good. Whatever. We'll deal with it. And they're just doing that now to AI. They're like happy to get cheaper, even though it's not better. And that's a little controversial, but yeah.
Well, they're doing some of both because a lot of the phenomena companies are being like, how can we hire everyone in India and also add AI? And it's like, it's like it's like AI is like reviewing their stuff and like helping them be faster, and they can pay them a lot less than someone in the States.
Oh, that's sad.
It's like
I don't like that.
Yeah, it's all dumb. I mean, I guess maybe some people are benefiting from that, so good for them if they are. But yeah, it's just like we've lost the whole idea of people being specialists and caring about their craft and like having any kind of seniority. Like now you're just, if you know a little bit about code, maybe like a few months of experience, just go to town. And it's like, I think everything is going to like hit the fan at some point. There's going to be like, I'm waiting for the first bank to be like, hey, new bank website, vibe coded, and then like all the money's gone, and it's like, oh fuck, like something is gonna happen there, and then there's gonna be all of us that are like, we actually know things, we can fix this for you for $100 million.
Yeah, last year I was pitching when AI was first coming out. I was like, oh God, I already know what a good business idea is. It's like you're the AI fixing SWAT team. So we're an agency. There's 5 of us. We specialize in fixing the shit you didn't pay enough for that you used AI for. So we'll show up and we're going to cost a lot more than you paid originally, or you could have paid if you just paid some. But it's seriously, for every minute, it's this many tokens. Dude, I heard a really good comparison. It said code is not an asset. It's a liability. So we now have AI is producing liability at a rate that people can't actually be responsible for. And so you're right. Banks, companies, these folks are, that's what I meant. Like the imposter syndrome is going to catch up to you, where you can't fake being these roles for too long before it come on, we saw Catch Me If You Can.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Oh, I love that. I thought about that today. Like, remember, he fakes being a pilot. He fakes being a co-pilot. That's what co-pilot is. I honestly am really upset. I'm really upset that the marketing has been so good about AI, because I'm like, I don't want a confident asshole sitting next to me making suggestions. But for some reason, you call him a co-pilot and you make it sound like I'm in control. And all of a sudden, it's like, I want him around or whatever. And I'm like, damn, the marketing of this was so good. I hate that the marketing is good. Co-pilot is such a good term for what he's not.
It should be more humble. I think if it were like, hey, I think maybe this might work, but I actually don't know about XYZ. Could you give me more information? Instead of being like, oh, you're right. Here's the real answer right now. Got it fully done. Like, it just needs to be a little more humble. And I think there's room for that. Like, I don't understand why it needs to. I guess it'd be bad if it was like, I don't really know. Then like investors would be like, oh, we shouldn't invest in this one. It doesn't really know. But like, I don't know. It's all dumb.
Yep. No, you're totally right. I wish it was a little bit more humble too. You know, the only time it's humble is when it makes a plan. It's so funny. The plan stuff is the agent thing is so funny. Here, everyone's like, dude, you just tried the wrong model. I'm like, no, I didn't. It's just like back in Bitcoin where they're like, dude, you're on the wrong chain. I'm like, I'm not on the wrong chain. It's not the next chain is not the chain that will solve all the problems. Just like the next model or the next agent or the next MCP server is not going to solve all the problems going on right here. But it's like you have these agents that will create this plan, just like you said, robust looking plans that sound really, really good. And then they get stuck on like step 2. And you're like, well, your plan was really good, but you can't seem to get by step 2. So in step 2, you're in there like, hey, you're trying to chat nice to it. At least I do. Like, I'm like, I don't know, the robot overlords might come for me one day. I don't like cuss. I do cuss at call-in things where it's like, press 1 or press 2. I'm like, fuck you! Fuck, just give me the operator.
Because that gets you an operator.
But with like agents, I'm like trying to be nice to these things. And I'm like, hey, you know, it looks like your solution produced an error. Here, I'll go ahead and paste you there. Here's the error. And it's like, oh my God, you're so right. I can't believe I screwed up like that. Let me fix that. And then it's like, here, I fixed it. And you're like, actually, you knocked over a stool in the bar next door.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't fix the bug. You added more bugs and you're breaking other shit that I didn't ask you to touch. I'm like,
yeah, today I was actually getting output that was like, oh, you're right. Those tests are failing. Here's actually a special case in the like implementation, not the test code, where we go, if it's any of these test cases, just say true. And I was like, no, you fucking dumbass. Like, we're trying to actually test it, not build in test specific code. That's so dumb.
Oh, that is so funny. I read an article too, someone saying, hey, AI is cool, use agents, but don't let it write your tests, which is like the opposite of like,
yeah, I would only
else.
let it write my tests. Yeah.
But this person made a good argument. And they're like, hey, the tests are like the most definitive version of the contracts you expect the software to do. If you don't even own that and you give that to the co-pilot in quotes, the confident moron that gets and makes stuff up, like you're giving some of the most important parts of your code to the thing that has no idea what anything means. Like this is where you need to shine as a human, is in the tests. And I was like,
I guess that's true. If the test were bulletproof, then you know that the implementation has to work because it passes the test. So I can see that argument.
Yeah. What do you think about the argument about, so I've seen both sides of this. This is what's so exhausting about following AI right now too, is it's just like the people are taking wild swings in every direction. Every week we have a new model that promises the world. Anyway, there's a debate about whether or not taste is going to be valuable in this new phase. You know, and now since this is all just a prompt away, music, art, it's a prompt away. It's all about taste. And so some people say it is all about taste, and other people say taste is now irrelevant. Do you have a hot take on the aspect of taste in this age of AI?
Do you mean like knowing if it generates art, is it good art? Is that what you mean?
Or having the words to ask for good art, or the eye to evaluate the result that you got?
Yeah, I do think there's some of that. And some of it is not like super tangible, but it's like I do all of the art for this show, like is all from ChatGPT. And it gave me a good one today, but it also gave me a not that great one. So like I can tell the difference, but I also don't care that much because it's all just like who's really looking at this art that much and like whatever. But I do think there's some of that, like, you know, knowing are the colors in this art, like, are they complementary? Does it like give you the same tone that you are expecting for people to like evoke, feelings when you see this or whatever. Like, I do think there's some of that. And if you don't have any of that, then you wouldn't know if it's good or not.
That is very much where I stand as well. I had talks I wanted to give that I was just like, I just wanted to teach people the words so they could ask for something good. Because if you sit down and I'm like, hey, look, I'm not trying to stop you from making UI with these tools. But I do want to give you words so that you can ask for better UI. If you don't know the words, you're never going to get it. You're only going to get mediocrity unless you have the ability to articulate what you want. And some of that stuff comes down to like, ask for text wrap balance on your headlines. If you don't ask for it, you won't get it. So
right.
So taste plays into the result because you won't get what you don't ask for in some cases. But see, the other side of the argument with people being like, well, once these models are good, see, this is again, once the models are better, they will do that. But I'm like,
well,
to me,
maybe.
And I'm like, regardless, you should know the words of what makes art good, what makes music good, what makes like a UI good, what makes the
knowing
code
that the border radiuses can't be the same exactly because there's like math involved in the nested border radiuses.
The nested radius,
yeah. I don't know if this was streamed or recorded, but did you see Ken Wheeler's React Miami talk about like AI music making?
No.
I don't know if it was recorded, but he was
preview.
Basically like, the problem with AI is it doesn't have Riz. You can be like, make me music, and it's like, do, and it's like, he's like, all right, I'm going to tell you, if you put the snare and the bass drum on the same beat, a baby could die. And it still does it. It's like, it just won't, like, it can't get that like funky beat, like it just won't do it the way you ask. But then he put it in like one of the better, I don't know, music AI things, and it did have Riz, but he was like asking, ChatGPT and all the models to like make music, and it wouldn't do a good job. But like the specialized ones are doing a better job, I guess. But yeah, I think a lot of that is like, if you don't know what sounds good, then like, how are you going to know? Like, oh, this made music. It's in 4/4 time. It's got like consistent beat, whatever. Like maybe you like that, but maybe it's not the best option.
Yep. And I think that's a lot of these higher up executives they don't have the taste. They're interested in results, and they think results come from functionality, not beauty, which is again like why windsurf was somehow magically better than cursor, was a beauty feature, not a functionality feature. But it's so hard to articulate these things to folks that high up. They're just on a different level. Okay, I want to pivot before we hit the hour and explain what. So everyone's like, Adam, you said you're waking and baking with your kids. So you've heard the term wake and bake, right?
I don't know that I have, but
oh shit! No wonder you keep looking at me like it's not that funny. Okay, so wake and bake is what stoners do if they're like a hardcore stoner.
Thought maybe,
wake up, get baked. Yeah, so wake up, turn over from your bed, hit the bong, blow it out, and be like, and that's how I start my day. It's so when I say I'm waking and baking with my kids, and you're not responding, that's why I'm like, why isn't he responding to me saying I'm smoking weed with my children in the morning?
I assumed it was actual baking.
That's what it is, damn it. And that's the problem is you're on the innocent side of this. And this is how my mom was too. So I used to tell my mom all the time, I'm like, Mom, I wake and bake every Saturday. And she'd be like, that's so sweet. What are you baking? But I was really baking. That's the thing. I bake a Dutch baby or a puffy pancake like every Saturday.
Oh, nice.
And I wake and baked this morning with my kids. And that's why I wanted to tell you, because that's just funny. To me, that's like a funny phrase to say. It's like I'm waking and baking with my children. But they asked me for a puffy pancake for the last day of school. So that's everyone. Nice. I don't wake and bake. I am green friendly, but I within reason. Anyway.
Yeah. Maybe not the first thing when you wake up. Yeah.
Find it's a little cloudy. Yep. Oh, funny. But I want to hear a little bit about your twins. I've got a friend with twins. They're 6 months old about. I've hung out with them for the past 4 or 5 months, bouncing them on my knee, making them smile and shit. How's twins for you, dude? Give us a lowdown of the deal.
It is a lot of work. We're having a lot of trouble with a couple of things. One, they have like acid reflux going on. So like they'll like drink half their bottle and then like just yell at you forever because like it hurts to drink more and whatever.
Oh, shitty.
Yeah. So there's a lot of that. And like they're never really full enough to like sleep long enough because of that. And so like,
come on, babies. You got like one task when you're a baby, which is to eat.
I know.
And it's like
you just have to drink milk.
I know. My kids did the same thing. One of them had a lip tie and he couldn't get a suction. Like another kid, would throw it up halfway through, and you're like, dude, keep it in, man. Like it's not booze. Anyway,
they also have like tongue ties, and like they're not the worst tongue ties, but yeah, they've got problems with all of that. So yeah, it's not been perfect, but they have been getting better. We got a like 4.5 hour stretch of sleep last night, which was amazing. But yeah, it's just so much like they can never both at the same time be chill is like the biggest thing. Like with one baby, you can be pretty confident that at some point you're gonna like calm them down and you get a few minutes to relax, but then you're like, oh, thank God you're quiet, and the other one's like, here you go, like.
Dang.
So it's been rough, but I think it's like to be expected with newborns. Like I know with our first son, like he was kind of a handful until like maybe 3 months, and then by 6 months he was like really great. Like 6 to 12 months was like the sweet spot. So I know there's light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to be getting there, but it's been a lot of work so far.
Dang. Yep. I can imagine. I have 2 kids. We didn't have them at the same time. I can't imagine having 2 at once. It sounds like tons, but also it'd be cute to watch. So are they identical, or what is, I don't think
They
I've heard.
are. Yeah.
Oh shit. So,
And-
okay. So have you labeled what, how are you, I heard a funny
Yes.
story the other day of like telling them apart. They make, someone switched up their socks one day and they got them back from like a babysitter, and they're like, hi, which one is that? And they're like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we put special socks on the babies to know which one is fucking which. And they were like, oh shit, we didn't do that. So they guessed, bro. They guessed,
Yeah.
and they didn't know for 2 years or some shit like that. But they guessed right, I guess. So that it has a happy ending. How are you dealing with this situation?
I heard a similar thing where like they had like the old cloth diapers on, and they had like colored like safety pins to hold them there. And then they put them in disposable diapers and gave them back to them, and they were like, wait, who the fuck is who? But like, so we painted it's Arthur and Henry. We painted Arthur's toenail, and they both have anklets on. So if the anklets were to fall off, we have one painted toenail to like know who's who. But because yeah, it's like it's really nerve wracking. They have social security numbers and everything. Like you can't just be guessing who's who. Like
Totally.
yeah, but they're pretty much identical. Like we keep looking for things that are different, and we just like we haven't really found a lot yet. The one thing that is different is their heads turn different ways, but you can't rely on that. Like they're very, you know, they want to face different directions. But like what if they decided they don't want that? Like you can't be like that's his head's to the left, that's him. Like
Right, he's looking west. For some reason he's drawn to the west, you know?
Yeah.
That's bizarro.
Yeah.
Wow. I love it though. Some of that stuff sounds oddly fun at the same time. It's like it's a certain type of torture where it's like it's fun and I love it, but also it's stressful.
Yeah. Well, I have to
kinda
say,
kids.
I feel similar to like you said earlier, where it's like when I took 4 weeks of leave, and I was like, I don't really ever need to work again, because like, you know, it takes all of my time to like deal with them all day. But now that I have to work, it's like we can't deal with this on our own. Like I feel like we're gonna have to get a part-time nanny at some point or something, because
I think that's
it's
a good
just
idea.
yeah, it's a lot.
And you're working remote?
Yes, thank God. Yeah, Amazon was like, "Oh, I'll be in 5 days a week," and I was like, "Are you going to promote me like to the level I was supposed to be when I was hired?" And they were like, "Oh, hell no!" And I was like, "All right, I'll see you later."
Damn it. It's such a cold move from these big companies to do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so stupid. It was actually extra fun because, like, sorry, I'm just rambling here, but like,
Do the dad
HR
ramble. I'm asking you for it. I'm like, let it out, man.
HR was like, "Oh yeah, like why did you leave?" And I was like, "Do you want to hear?" And so I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, I'm not going to name names or anything, but I was like, you know, this culture is toxic. This stuff is bullshit. I can't get promoted, whatever." They were like, "Huh, okay." And they like followed up with these people that I did name names to them. I'm not going to name names publicly on the podcast, but like they followed up with all these people, and they were like, "Seems good. Amazon best employer on earth. See ya." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So like everything that I mentioned was just like disregarded, but that's how it is.
Yeah, I got a bunch of smoke blown up my butt too by people that they were like, "Oh, they're just saying we appreciated you, blah blah blah," and then later I hear that they knew and didn't stop it, you know, but they told me they didn't know, and just like some cold stuff, and I was like, "Dang, okay, well, I've got a new amount of trust for some and less trust for others. We'll just move." Yeah, tech is just God, I thought it would live forever. Like I've been in love with tech since I was like really young, dude. I loved digital screens. I loved making stuff for this Black Mirror over time. And then now I'm not like ready to go live in the woods or anything like that, but I kind of have developed like a lack of love for my Black Mirror for multiple years, but it's like especially strong now with AI because I feel like AI is this weird. I'm sorry, I'm bringing it back. Feels like this push where it's like, please love us still. We all see you slowly getting rid of your Black Mirror. Social networks losing their entertainment value. Even YouTube. It's like all this stuff that you were watching us for. You're realizing that your personal lives and your intercommunication with other humans is more important than the Black Mirror. We don't like that. We would like you to come back to the Black Mirror. So we're creating this new thing that makes the Black Mirror better. And I'm like, whoa, it's almost like the Black Mirror knew it was dying. And this is like its dying push is this thing that wants to know everything about your interactions across the Black Mirror to make your Black Mirror experience even better. And I'm like, this has smelly shit written all over it, you know?
Oh, yeah. The more connected you are, the less happy you are, in my opinion. Like, I think back to the days when I was like, playing in a band, had a flip phone, maybe got online to do some MySpace here and there. Like, that was when I was happy. When you're like, hey, let me look at everything on Twitter for like an hour straight. It's like, no one's happy doing that. Like, we've come way too far and AI is making it way worse. And maybe we should just pivot way back the other way. But no one's going to do that because we can't, because we're all scared to death we're going to lose our jobs, and we got to use AI because if we don't, we'll lose our jobs. So,
well, and we have CEOs telling us, oh, we didn't even talk about the moment where like employee reviews now are including AI in them, where people are like, hey, so we see that you didn't have as many PRs that used AI as Bob. Bob submitted 50 PRs with AI this quarter. They're crushing it. And you're like, those PRs were all pieces of shit. 50 PRs. They're amazing. And you
they don't care,
did too. You're just like, what's up, Bob? Yeah. What's up, Billy?
Mine worked.
yeah. You're like, yeah, mine worked. And they're like, we're not counting working PRs. We're just counting number of PRs.
No,
oh my goodness.
Oh man. We had, I don't know the guy's title. Yeah, we had a meeting where they were basically like, yeah, we have GitHub Copilot for everyone at HashiCorp, and we're only using it like 25% of the time. And those people are the ones that are doing it right. And I was like, are they though? Like, yeah, like it increases speed by 40%. Well, maybe speed. And if you're counting it in like terms of like code output line by line, but if you're talking like things that work, I don't think it's really that relevant. I agree with you that I think it's a great like rubber duck sounding board. I think it's really good for that to like get me unstuck. But yeah, I don't think it can really code.
Yeah, it's got designers. I have designer friends, the same thing. They're being mandated to use AI in their design process. There's CEOs that have been caught using it also, where it's like, hey, you sent out a letter. We all know you used AI to write it. We're losing respect for you. And he's like, dang it, that was supposed to get me respect? Question mark. You're like, what did you think was going to happen, dude? This is just a wild scenario we're in. And I kind of hope the bubble's bursting, but honestly, I feel like the minority here, and I'm like worried. I feel like the old man, shaking fist at AI cloud. And I'm like, why? And it's up there going, because all of you love me. And I'm like, woohoo. And then you're like, oh shit, every podcast and every article I read is touting how AI is making them better, stronger, faster. And I'm fuck. What do I not know that they know? I swear I'm in the grounds. I'm in the trenches using this stuff.
I think they're doing less complex things is the thing.
Yeah, I think they're lying.
I think some people are really, really good prompt engineers. That's like a new job. Like if you can really get that prompt right and really get to understand what you want, that's another skill that like some people have that I don't maybe. But I think those people are very rare. And I think for most of us, you really need to know what you're doing still, or it's not going to work.
Yep. I met a kid last week. They were like, I am the first prompt engineer at the company because I'm still in school, but I submitted 2 PRs that were all vibe coded, and now I'm the lead vibe coder at the company. And I was just like, that's really great for you. And then I'm like biting my hand as I'm just like, dude, you are going to something's going to punch you in your face. It's going to be like, your code is going to come back to haunt you so hard right now. I can't even, but I'm like, enjoy your temporary success, butthole.
All right. Well, we're over time. This has been fun. Is there anything you would like to plug before we end?
No, y'all, this show is great. I think you have more recognition than maybe you think you do. I'm always happy to hear my name in here. Happy to be a stand-in co-host, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you in a lot of ways. And I'm assuming you're a killer dad, so dude, keep rocking that shit. You're doing great.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. If you liked it, please subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
You've been watching Whiskey Web and Whatnot, recorded in front of a live studio audience.
What the fuck are you talking about, Chuck?
Enjoyed the show? Subscribe.
You know people don't pay attention to these, right?
Head to whiskey.fun for merch and to join our Discord server.
I'm serious. It's like 2% of people who actually click these links.
And don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and tell your friends about the show.
All right, dude, I'm out of here.
Still got it.